What up, everybody? Welcome to EX Saturdays. We're going to be talking about some fighting games and a couple of other video game topics. This is the Low Kick Podcast. I am Dynamite, joined by
Ham Jams.
And Seth. Man, I appreciate that handoff, man.
yeah,
Ham Jams.
Ham Jams. Yeah, so today we're going to cover a couple of topics. I know it's been a little bit since we've been back, but hopefully everybody's been staying safe, doing the responsible thing, and I'll leave it there. But, holidays are coming up, and I know it's going to be a rough time, so we thought that it would be nice to have a little podcast before then and chat it up. There's been some great developments in the fighting game space, so we're going to take a look at that. But before we do that, let's talk about what we've been up to, and we'll start off with Seth. What you been up to the last month?
Oh, man. Well, as you guys know, our YouTube channel has been a little bit more active and got a little bit of a visual update. It's been a lot more organized, and most of what I've been doing has been revolving around that. It's been revolving around trying to evolve my editing capabilities from what it was. So learning a new software, learning how to use Photoshop to make better thumbnails. So on the low kick side of things, it's really been that. On the Ceph side of things, I've been playing well, you guys know, we've been playing Apex. We've been playing, experiencing some new rollback and new fighting games. You guys have been playing a lot of Plus R. I haven't been playing much Plus R.
I played it twice.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably more than me, man. But either way,
I've played 50 games of Guilty Gear, Accent Core, XX, whatever, Plus R.
I think the XX comes before the accent.
I don't care. I do not care.
well, I mean,
Good for that.
it could be a different game. What are you talking about? Either way,
Wrap it up.
yeah, it's a. I've been doing good.
Thanks for tuning in, everyone.
I've been doing pretty good. Either way, I've been doing pretty good.
That's what's up.
What's been
Dom.
going on, Dom? Yeah.
So,
Oh, here we
it's
go.
been, it's I would say that, like, me in the video games, I'm always playing them at all times because I have no life, and
Let's
you can't go anywhere. But
That's true.
so played some Persona 5. That was pretty cool. Persona 5 Royal, obviously. Apex, I've been playing a bunch of that. And fighting game wise, in the last month, I have played Guilty Gear, Guilty Gear Xrd Revelator 2, Samurai Showdown, Street Fighter 4, Street Fighter Third Strike, Street Fighter 5, Tekken 7, and I think
Soul
that
Calibur?
and obviously Soul Calibur, yeah. And Soul Calibur 6.
His
I played, like, 8
main
different fighting
game
games. Well, yeah,
in
but
afterthought.
you forget that it's there because it's just what you just do. That's like, it's not something supplementary. It's just what's expected of you. So, yeah, I've played it. Obviously, so with Tekken, it's been pretty good, which made playing Soul Calibur pretty bad. Obviously, Guilty Gear has been pretty good. I mean, played it and it was pretty good, which made Soul Calibur feel even worse. Samurai Showdown, I play it literally with just Seth, so I experience no problems. He lives an hour away from me. I have no lobby issues, so, that's
Yeah, because, people in close proximity of one another, say friends, don't really have a lot of connectivity issues.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
that's interesting.
You could definitely play that
Only
game.
the lobbies would come in and actually work. So
the
what I've been up
lobbies
to in the last
function
couple of weeks
in
since
an
we
organized
podcasted was I've been messing around here and there with a couple of fighting games. I mostly been messing around with Plus R. I guess that's really my big return to actually playing a lot of a particular fighting game. I think over the course of the 4 or 5 days that I had a chance to play the beta, I had about 250 matches or something like that. So
yeah,
it was good. I've been enjoying it quite a bit. I feel like the community has been really cool. They've been kind of, I mean, the Guilty Gear community, the people who are for the most part there for Zerd, we're there when Plus R came around too.
Yeah,
So, but
that's
it's been
true.
cool. It's been cool for me to jump back in and play something that I feel really excited for. And the rollback netcode is really good. Like, it's
Crisp.
extremely good. It's super crisp. I've had, out of those 250 matches, I had like maybe one or two that I was like, questionable. Both Jam players, by the way. But you know, it's what you gonna do. But that also might have been because I didn't set the rollback properly. So like, because if the connection is like 300 ms, you have to kind of fidget with the rollback frames. But yeah, it's been really good. I've been enjoying it quite a bit. I actually ventured into Street Fighter V for a week and a half, I would say, maybe 2 weeks, and yeah, we talked about this. You know, I couldn't lock in, man. The characters that I aesthetically enjoyed, they didn't do the things that I wanted them to do all the way. So, you know, it was just like, I was just having a moment where I was like, you know, I'm not really having a good time at, you know, playing this game. Like, I played ranked, I played casual.
Yeah.
Just wasn't
That'll
clicking.
He
definitely.
played by Honda and didn't want to play it.
Oh, that's probably
that
why he
absolutely started it. That was the trigger.
That's probably what pushed him out of Street Fighter V. Dumb. No, I mean, like, I'm glad that
Honda, really good character, by the way. Shout outs to Daigo for
I'm sick of this shit.
revealing. Hey, it's my turn to talk about what I've been doing.
I'm out.
Just leaves the fuck. But yeah, what
it
was I
happens.
saying?
It happens. Like, you know, you're picking up a game that everybody's been playing, you're really interested in playing, but you really just can't resonate well with it. I'm doing the exact same situation that you had with Street Fighter V as me with Plus R. Like, characters that well, actually, not even really, because there are characters that you enjoy aesthetically in Street Fighter V, but that just don't perform.
for
Whereas
sure.
in Plus R, it's probably just like, I can't resonate with characters aesthetically, you know? Can't really jump in.
Yeah.
Because nobody looks cool to me, but it's a cool game. It's a cool looking game.
Yeah,
I mean,
you know, I think that like I was playing Christian the other day, FNTR. I was getting some matches in with him, so I could, you know, kind of just get a feel for it. And maybe if it's like I'll stick around and play this casually with friends, as I do with a couple of other games, like Street Fighter V. I almost never play that game ranked. It's just like I just play lobbies, but it's fun to play with my friends. Sure. But I was like, oh, let me just mess around with Potemkin, and I saw the way. So like, the first time I ever saw Guilty Gear, ever, was in Oklahoma when Exerd came out. So looking at Potemkin then versus what he looks like now, I'm like, I hate him. I hate the way he looks. He looks dumb.
in Plus R, you mean?
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, I think he looks pretty cool in Plus R, to be honest.
Yeah,
you know.
man, I think it's pretty cool.
I don't think so at all. So like, as it is, I'm fighting an uphill battle, you know? And now everybody's like, oh, Potemkin's mad good. And it's like, yeah, try moving, bro. Like this, it's like, go ahead, hammer, fall, break. It's like, I don't want to do that. I want to do that at all.
Well, I mean, so that kind of goes back to why I stopped Street Fighter V, is because, you know, like I was playing Sagat, you know, and it's like, okay, cool. And Seth was telling me, like, I mean, you can still play Sagat and you can play him to a high level, but there's certain things you have to do, right? Like there's just certain things you have to do, and that's just the life that you choose if you pick the character.
Dan was like, struggling? Hell, I'm out, dude.
It's just, I'm not. I think Sagat looks cool, but I'm not trying to struggle.
Work?
With that. Like I don't like the way that. Well, it's more that I don't like the fact that he has to fight against the system. You know, like he doesn't work in the system of Street Fighter V. He doesn't just benefit from being in it. You know, and
it's like
look,
he
can
pops
play
V-trigger and he's like, okay, well, I get to do tiger shots again, except they're mids and I can uppercut off of them. You're not making like some insane comeback with double tiger shot uppercut, you know, like you can't. I mean, the damage is there.
The thing is, Sagat's damage is there, but it's not like Sagat is offense oriented and he gets consistent, like,
that's the thing,
accessible damage. or
The
access to
game's
his
all
damage. That's the thing.
offense-oriented.
He doesn't have that, and that's
game,
what.
yeah, and that's the game though. That's
Yes.
right now. That's the game, and
Yes.
so.
Right
but I
now.
mean, look, this is me. You know, a silver at best player. You know, I've seen people do work with Sagat, and we've all seen people do work with Sagat. However, I don't want to grind it like that. So the other character I think is really cool is Ryu. Obviously, no need to even talk about
He's
that.
not in the game.
Look, Ryu,
I don't
shut up.
even want to go there. So I played. So when Plus R came around, I'm like, okay, let me see who I want to mess around with. And then I was like, I need a character with no dash and no air dash, because I want to play Nagoriyuki when Strife comes out, and he doesn't have a dash. He doesn't even have a double jump. So I was like, ooh. But I was like, okay, let me pick a character that does that. Is there any character that does that in Plus R when the rollback dropped? And I was like, oh, Justice. I was like, yo, she's a mech at 2. I'm in there. Like,
It's a
immediately
Gundam.
in there. It's literally
It's a
a
gun.
You just get to play as a Gundam.
Plus, she has the Ava Unit 1 colors, which is really cool. And so I started playing around with Justice, and man, I forgot how tough old school games are when it comes to like input timing and accuracy. Like,
I can't do giant swings, bro. I can't do giant swings.
So Justice's 2 supers that she uses the most is a giant swing motion, and you cannot for a second miss any of that. It has to be a clean input all the way through. And I'm playing on hitbox. So it's like it's really tough, but I had a really
that's like max privilege, because you just get those.
I mean, it is
for free.
But even I'm still dropping them at from time to time, and so I'm really enjoying Plus R though. I'm going to be jumping back in. I had to obviously take a couple breaks, but I'm definitely going to be jumping back in. I still have been labbing, and they extended it, so I think this is kind of just rolling naturally into our first topic though of the Plus R rollback beta, and the tournaments that came after it. Yeah, it was like it really was an extravaganza. So originally, for those who don't know, the beta was set for like 3 days or something like that. It was like over a weekend at first. That was the original time frame.
Wow.
Everybody jumped in, like from the gear community for the most part, and there was some skepticism at first, and I get that, because when they're like, okay, rollback update, everybody's like, let's see how it actually works. Turned out to be really crisp. There were some issues at the very start of the beta. There were a lot more issues. Sometimes the lobbies would blow up. Sometimes there would, certain stages weren't as stable. And then, of course, there's the desyncing with characters who RNG items, right? So Zappa and
which is
Falls.
still an issue.
It's still that part is still an issue, but the team
blowing up from time to time is also still kind of an issue.
It's still, but I feel like it's less frequent.
Yeah,
I feel like
definitely less frequent.
So the team that worked with Arxis on it, Team French Calibers, were constantly working on the beta throughout that weekend. Then Arxis came back and was like, "Yo, everyone loves the beta so much, let's just extend it out to November 16th." Which was dope, because it was like 2 extra weeks, and I hadn't really had a chance to play that weekend. So I was like, okay, cool.
Yeah, you didn't have a chance to fall in love with that game.
Yeah, so a lot of people didn't either. However, there were some that did run the tournament. So there was a big initial Plus R tournament run by Classic Fighting Gamer over at twitch.tv/Classic Fighting Gamer. Shout outs to all he's doing for the Plus R community. But there was a huge tournament. There was like 200 something people. This was the very first one.
I think it was more than that.
Was it more than that? It was a lot. It was a lot of people. No, the second one I think was 400. It might have been 400 again, but the first one might have been 200, 250. Shout outs to Elvin Shadow for scooping the bag on that one. On the first one, on a couple of them. That guy's a beast. But I think people responded to it really well. Like, I don't think that Classic Fighting Gamer expected like 250 plus people to sign up for the Plus R bracket that weekend. And I really am happy to see how that tournament scene kind of exploded out. Did you guys watch the first tournament?
I didn't watch the first tournament, no. I couldn't even watch the second
tournament. I think I dinked around with it. Like, I poked my head in a few times. If that was the one that like Elvin Shadow like one. If that was against Wukash and Grands.
That was Wukash and Grands, yeah.
Oh, then yeah, I did watch that one. And by the way, double Chicago Grand Finals.
Yeah, big shout outs to Wukash. Wukash and Elvin Shadow have also been streaming a lot more, plus R, and they've just been helping people, as they do. I mean, when before we were isolated and unable to go to locals, Wukash and Elvin Shadow would help people all the time. Elvin Shadow a little bit less because that man is stressed trying to run the event, and but Wukash also, when he would come down to raid and Super Saturdays, he'd always sit down and talk Guilty Gear with people. Like Wukash is definitely the homie. So shout outs to both of them. But yeah,
and the guy, what I love about Wukash is the guy knows his audience. Like somebody will look over at him and they'll be like, Guilty Gear stuff, and he'll be like, I'm in there, and then he'll look over at me. He will never mention Guilty Gear once.
No,
because he knows I don't care.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that tournament being that big really sparked a lot more interest in Plus R and the extension of the beta, which was really a smart move by Arxis to do that, to say, yo, it looks like a lot of people are jumping in. I think Plus R went from like 300 people playing or something to like 2,000 people consecutively playing the moment the rollback dropped.
Right.
So, I mean, from a number standpoint, there's no question about it. But then to see that translate over to a tournament participation, you think normally, okay, 2,000 people are playing. If you get about 200 or so people in the tournament that weekend, that's about 10% of the consecutive people playing, right? That's pretty good given the percentage of people that normally compete in fighting games. Like, think about how many copies of Street Fighter V have been sold.
Yeah.
Think about how many people actually participate in tournaments. Like, that's not to say that it's a small number, because as we know, Street Fighter V has the largest participation for the most part in tournaments. But to be able to do that, for the most part, I mean, on average.
Yeah.
I think maybe MK can.
So MK, I know, was killing the game in its initial run, as NRS games do. Tekken usually is killing the game. I think it's second place to whatever that newest title is at any given time.
But
and then Street Fighter V, because like a Combo Breaker, they run the games in the order of size.
Yeah.
And Street Fighter V
Tekken is second. Yeah. But I mean, for an 8-year-old game, right, Plus R, to have that kind of resurgence and people jumping in, obviously the conditions that we're all living under is a huge factor to that. But it's a really good move, and so yeah, that first tournament was huge. And then the tournaments kept getting bigger after that, right? There was the Lunar Face tournament, the very first one. I think that raised like $2,000 in the pot. Elvin Shadow won that one as well. So he got himself a nice streaming computer ordered. Shout outs to Elvin Shadow again.
Shout out to Elvin Shadow, the god.
Yeah, the legend. So there's this in the Chicago anime scene, there's the legend of EX Bozak, which I've always heard about, but I've never seen. It is, if Elvin Shadow is in a grand finals and he's on winner's side and he loses and it gets reset and now he's in loser's side, he turns into EX Bozak. And I kid you not, the match was against Mahoko, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, the Bridget player. And it was super close winner's side. It was like 3-2 last round type of situation. Reset the bracket, and then Elvin Shadow comes back in 3-0s in loser's side. And
did the same thing to Wukash.
Yeah, same thing. So like, I was like, it's like seeing the actual legends come to life in front of you. It's like, it's wild. The RNG he got, on top of the fact that the way he was playing was crisp, it was scary, man. It was really scary.
It was like the shonen anime where like the protagonist is losing, but then like the one old man in the back knows, his power will awaken. And everybody in the front's like, what are you talking about, old man? And then EX Bozak comes out from within and you're like, ugh! And he saves the Elite Village,
What I love is the order of how it goes in the anime, right? It goes, main character gets cocky, is in a winning position, gets their shit pushed in because they were cocky, learns their lesson as they're getting their shit kicked in, and then activates shonen protagonist power up 2, and then they win. And that's pretty much just that's just
every shonen.
Yeah, that's pretty much what
that is every shonen.
But yeah, so that tournament kicked off Lunar Phase, and then Classic Fighting Gamer had the beginner tournament, as we'll say.
Beginner's bracket. I'm just gonna...
It's really not.
Nothing was better than reading the Discord as you and NT discuss the beginner's bracket in written text.
Oh,
It was a beautiful thing because every time you'd see a name come up, it was like a different SpongeBob meme of somebody just going like.
Oh, I think important NT. So shout outs to NT, who's been really of all of low kick the person I've been playing plus R with the most. Who's been hitting me with clean hit sidewinder loops at the very beginning of his plus R journey. So thanks NT. But he participated in a couple of tournaments, but he did jump in the bracket for the beginners bracket for Classic Fighting Gamer, and that
Blasted.
Whew,
Yeah.
that was rough, man. We were talking about the bracket, and every time we brought up a name, it was just like, whew, and he had to run into. Unfortunately, he ran into Necro Undyne eventually, which was
beginner.
I mean, if you know.
You know, my
legendary
favorite one
beginner
was
Necro
my
Undyne.
favorite was Sweet X Jam in the turn beginner, who then later played in the exhibition for the best.
I was gonna get to that, yeah. So the best of the best, 25v25, which was, if you haven't seen that, go and watch that. That was a great event. That was amazing. Shout outs to all the Chicago people that showed up for that. We'll rattle off those names in a second. But my favorite meme about the beginner bracket was the Jimmy Butler looking at the paper meme that NT posted. Like, I don't know. But still, the beginner's bracket, it had 450 people in it. So, like, again, you know, I hope that, I hope some people weren't deterred, because obviously some people in that bracket weren't really beginners. Maybe beginners to plus R, but they were not beginners to fighting games.
Yeah.
But that, you know, that it was still cool to see.
Either.
Yeah,
fine.
probably not.
It probably
It's
weren't.
okay.
I mean, they could just not lie.
Yeah, that's true.
Fine.
That's true.
Hey, they just started playing the
something-
game 2 days ago alongside everybody else. They're beginners.
So yeah, they're like, oh, this is the first time I've downloaded it on Steam. I'm new, but
brand
playing it on PlayStation 2. But something that we forgot to go over, and I don't want to like linger on it too long, but it did happen. Do you remember that they hired Mike Z to make the netcode for Plus R better, and then they fired him immediately?
Well, now we have to go and talk about it for 15 minutes because, you know, we can't just slide through that. Let me wrap up on the tournament part of it. Thanks, Dom. Anyhow, so the tournament part of it was really good. I'm glad to see that the tournaments for it are getting consistent numbers. We ran a bracket at LKO when we had like 30-something people, 37 or something like that. So that was nice.
It's a healthy bracket for LKO.
Yeah. The 25v25 was really cool. And I'm excited to see where the game goes, you know, especially leading into Strive. And I mean, I honestly believe some people are going to stick with it even after Strive because it's the Guilty Gear that they love to play, you know. So that'll be nice to see. But reversing our car and
driving right back into Rollback
as Dom
in an
rolling
accident.
back
into a ditch. Yeah.
Into a flaming crater because that's where, you know, Dom wants us to go. Yes,
crater.
Mike Z was hired at some point to work on the rollback for Plus R, and was fired somewhere near the release time of the beta, or just before the beta, or something like that.
So I'm not gonna quote because obviously I don't just have that branded in my brain. I'm not weird, but I can paraphrase and at least saying that they were like, we were under the impression that he was going to make a statement or do something better after his disgusting behavior of Lab Zero kind of collapsing, because that happened too, by the way. They were like, oh yeah, he'll do better about that. We'll just hire him on. They knew. There's not a doubt in my mind. They knew he wasn't gonna fix that. The guy's like really prideful about what he does. So even in his mistakes, I would assume You know, he's holding on to that pretty tight. And then after it released and it was like, yo, we're in there, we're popping, what's good? Immediately fired. Like, they had to have known. They had to have known that he wasn't going to do anything, and they also had to have known that they were, I mean, like, they were taking advantage of the guy. I'll give you credit, give the guy credit where credit is due. When he touches a game and he does rollback things, they roll back real good.
It's true.
But, like, you have to consider, like, who you're hiring if you don't want, like, a PR blow up.
Yeah, so there were other documents that came out that talked about the employment status of Mike Z and all of that. I'm pretty sure they came out in the clear on that with the supplementary documentation, right? The first set of documents that came out didn't look good. It wasn't a good look.
From
there were more.
The company, or
yeah,
it wasn't because it wasn't Arxis specifically, right?
No,
it wasn't.
It was Team French Calibers.
Yeah. So French Calibers, like you said, they did get ahead of it, but you said that in the first set of documentation it didn't look good. So what did you mean?
It was because they didn't really explain the terms of employment. It looked like they were like, oh, we know he did all this crappy stuff, but
we needed him.
We thought he was going to reconcile, right?
Oh yeah, that's right. I do remember that.
And then after that, there was more documentation that came out to say immediately when it was more of an immediate thing. At first, it was like, oh, he's going to reconcile. Let's let him keep working. But it was like the decision was like right after. They were like, no, let's get him out of there. So.
Right after it was done.
But they did do it initially.
Yeah.
And
I'll say that I mean, this is just me, the PR in my brain. I feel like they knew what they had done, and they got ahead of it to avoid the poor reception. Because like they had to have known like the result was going to be the same. You know, sure. Like hey, fix this thing. He's not going to fix the thing. Doesn't fix the thing, and then immediately after that rolls into oh yeah, we let him go. Like, I think they knew. I think that was like a calculated decision.
Sure, and it might have been, but what are you gonna do? Not to say that they should hire him, but it's just like I feel like even if they claim that they didn't know, they were going to be under that fire anyway. So at the very least, because first of all, let's get it out the way. First and foremost, shout outs to Ham being the first one to say fuck Mike Z before all of the rest of the shit came out. But we can double down and say fuck Mike Z because, fuck that motherfucker. So with that having been said, and our stance being clear here at EX Saturdays.
As well as Low Kick eSports.
I feel like they had no choice but to try to get in front of it, because did they know before, or was he in the middle of the project? I don't know. I have no idea at what point they found out, or did they know beforehand? However, it's from a business standpoint, it is a hard thing to do on timing wise. But at least it was done. I can give them points for that. And probably that's the only thing we can give them points for. That it wasn't like, hey, guess who's working on this project when the beta comes? Yeah. That would have been a whole different conversation.
It would have been really rough if they hadn't said anything at all. And then we read the credits.
Yeah.
I wonder if it was also just like they realized that they need it fixed. They realized that they need the rollback thing. So I contact Mike Z, and they're just like, fix this. And he's like, you'll give me a job, right? Fix it. And then he fixes it, and he's like, can I have my job? All right, we out. That's it. They definitely took advantage of him. And I'm positive that they're aware. But obviously, as a business, you can't just be like, so yeah, fuck Mike Z, but you do the rollback thing good. So we just took his rollback skills for a bit. I'm sure that it was like they understood that he was like a necessary evil in that sense, but they didn't want to deal with any of the evil shit. They just wanted him to do his fucking job and leave. And they didn't think he was gonna leave.
Yeah, I don't know. But
I'm just
if
giving...
the gear community for the most part and it's hard for me because I really wasn't part of the gear community for real, or even stepping into it until this Plus R situation, you know, so the Rollback came out, you know, so we'd have to get more comments on that, but you
Anyway,
know,
we got
I think it's in a good. I think the game itself is in a good state, and they're continuing to work on it. And they extended the beta indefinitely, which made everybody happy, including myself.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to running more Plus R low kick online. I'm looking forward to seeing more brackets. It's just a cool game to watch too. I like to have it on and just have tournaments going because there's always some wild stuff that can happen in that game, and you're just like, ooh, that's.
There are
that's
two
a
characters
tough time to
that
block.
I do enjoy watching so far, and it's Justice and Faust.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
like, don't get me wrong. As I said, I've said many times before, I don't care to play that game, but that doesn't mean I don't care to watch it. It's a good spectator game.
Yeah.
It's definitely
absolutely.
a good spectator game. You'll see me in the chat watching Plus R, or you'll see me in the chat watching Exert, and I'm like, damn, this is hype. But you can miss me with those half circles, bro.
Half circle forward, back.
Yeah, stop. Just
Half circle back, forward.
Just not,
anyhow.
not happening.
Speaking of not happening, people were really upset with season 3 of Tekken 7, and
Whatever do you mean?
it was rough. It was rough.
We talked about it on EX Saturday.
We talked about it. So in that span of time, the Tekken 7 season 3 has ended, and we've moved into season 4. New character, you know, some minor changes to some characters. But the biggest thing to me, and seems like to the rest of the Tekken community, is the netcode update. I know that Ham and Seth, you both have been dabbling back into King of the Iron Fist Tournament 7. So, you know, I haven't, but I have, you know, watched some matches. I've been looking at the response from Tekken 7 players. Generally, they're pretty excited about it. There are some questionable things about inputs being eaten at some point. I don't know if that's actually the case. I haven't dug that far into that thought, but what are you guys' experiences with it, with the netcode update and the new character? Because Seth, I know you've been.
It's better than Rollback.
On My Mama character.
No, for real. She do be saying "on my mama" as she beats your ass.
Does.
No, Cooney feels great. Cooney is a character that I have helped myself, like, it's helped me identify what I want in a character. Like, knowing how she does offense in Tekken, knowing how she does offense as a fighting game character is more or less just like, oh yeah, this is great. Because I didn't think I was gonna mess with Cooney. I was like, she's a ninja, and ninjas are all tricky and they're all evasive and stuff like that, and I'm not keen on all that. But she's very, very offense oriented.
All of those options.
Huh?
You proceeded to then use all of those options.
Oh yeah,
it's fine.
I mean, she has them, but she's still offense oriented. But I just gotta use all the tools. You know, all the tools in the toolbox come in handy at some point. So, especially when it comes to, you know, beating on your friends. So I think she feels great. I don't think she's broken, because I don't think that she's oppressive by any means. She just has a lot of different ways to approach and different ways to start a combo, different reliable pokes that aren't always, like, you know, abusive. And she's got Vortex, but it's not so bad because you guess wrong and then she dies, but you're still guessing and it feels good. Feels good when your friends aren't guessing right. But regardless, I think that the rollback,
just say me, okay? Just say it. Just say you like hell sweeping me 3 times in a row.
I'm speaking for the listeners.
I've seen it live. It's 2:37 a.m. on a work night, and Dom is actively getting hell sweep 3 times on wake up.
Hate it. I hate it so much. But
you won't hop me. You refuse to hop me.
I've gotten, like, it's because the thing is I didn't see it as a hell sweep initially. Until after blocking it about 50 times and punishing it while standing 2-2, and because I play King, and I was like, I feel like I could get more, and then I just started mashing 1+2.
There you go.
And I'm like, okay, damage. So it's like it's very blatantly a hell sweep, but I didn't respect it as one.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah,
And
helps
now
me.
that I see it as one, it's like, okay, well, you're not gonna see that move coming. Like, you're not gonna see it coming out. And then she gets head towards, legs away, you know, face down.
Yeah.
She gets that follow up, and I don't. Seth, you want to give
yeah,
me
it's the 4-4-2 follow up where she just like swipes her knife up forward. That is a combo. Off of
the
hell sweep.
amount of time you have to confirm, not confirm it, to just do it, because like I don't know what it is about that knockdown.
Is it guaranteed?
It's guaranteed. It's guaranteed.
It's like a hell sweep.
Not counter hit. You just get it. It is a 2-hit combo.
Off of hell sweep?
Off of
Yeah.
hell sweep. That is a 2-hit combo. And
It's
I have
like
time
what,
to
like
make tea.
35
Watch Dom.
damage, 40 damage.
Yeah, I have
Sounds
time to
kinda-
watch Dom have a cigarette, and then come back and then get the combo.
That's what feels so bad
Like,
about
if
it. because
I
Seth-
hear Markman
Seth-
go gets the follow up on that, I will be like, Markman, there's no way he can't get the follow up.
dude,
He'd have to actively unplug the controller.
dude, no bullshit. Like that, you have so much time to do that follow up that like if you mess it up, I've been hit by it when there's no combo indicator. Like, you know how like when it's a combo, it'll be like one big chunk of your life
Yeah.
bar.
Yeah.
You can't get up fast enough to not get hit with it. So
That's
even
rough.
if it doesn't combo, you'll still get hit with it.
That's rough.
Yeah. Should have,
That is rough.
should have not getting hit by the hell sweep.
Don't-
But either way,
don't get
it could
canned.
also be a product of how sweet and juicy that rollback shit is. You know, because that just feels it honestly feels like night
Is it
and day.
rollback?
It feels like night and day, whatever it is. Okay, so it's like when you're-
I'm seriously asking. Like I asked in a facetious way, but I'm actively asking. Is it rollback?
Dan, don't know, but
No one knows, dude. So
don't
the
know.
the
I
master
just know
of
Tekken is 3.
rollback,
That's it.
Lord Sajam, went on, what do you call it? Went on, made a video about it, talked about it on a stream, and was like, it's not rollback, maybe. Like, even he doesn't know. But he said, like,
What
it
does
could be.
what does Keats say?
the thing is,
Keats
Keats
is the
would
true
definitely-
lord
yeah.
of rollback.
Yeah, he would know, and I don't think he said anything. on
I
it.
think it's like their own implementation. We're thinking Street Fighter V right now.
Yeah.
There is something to consider, and this is something that I've noticed, and this is me, guy that can't see difference between 30 and 60 frames. There is notable input delay sometimes that fluctuates. It's not consistent.
Yeah.
And I was like, I thought I was crazy until I saw that Sajam video. I was like, is this just me? Because I was playing against somebody that was like a 4-bar, and I mashed, and I was like, that did not come out right.
Mhm.
Like that
Well,
did not.
remember when you were saying you couldn't get Muscle Buster?
Yeah.
And it was like, so I have heard on along the grapevine that there are some situations where inputs are getting eaten. But maybe
it's
it's
like-
delay. But
the thing is-
whatever it is, I have heard that is happening.
The thing is, it was.
but I haven't
delayed.
played, so I can't I don't have the empirical experience to
Yeah.
really like.
It was
It
delayed for
definitely,
sure.
it definitely feels like, so like I've been like playing a lot of ranked in the middle of the night because, you know, I'm sweaty, and I've definitely seen the full gamut of like, oh, so this is like 4 frames of input delay, and
Yeah.
then there's and then like it'll clean itself up for a little bit, and then it'll go back to 4 frames, then it'll like jump down, and I'm like, hey, it's working again, and then it, like, you can tell. But I'm gonna say this, you know, MYK, Rip, and Rixa talked about this. They don't care if it's rollback, they just care that it works, and
Okay.
I'm with them on that. Like, sure, it's not necessarily the best, but it is so much better than what we had. It's like, dude, you went from like eating at the food shelter to somebody hooking you up with a gourmet meal, you know?
Well, that's what I'm
Well,
saying. Like,
at least home cooked.
I've had my fair share of powdered eggs, so I don't care if this is organic large brown eggs or whatever. If it ain't powdered eggs, we're good. You know.
I'm
So
eating
it don't-
ramen right now. I feel you, bro.
So yeah,
Wow.
it's
Nice.
it doesn't have to be rollback, right? If it works, okay, cool. Whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
It's that it as long as it works the way that it should, right?
Yes. I
and
truly
so
don't
we can
know.
call it whatever we want.
I truly don't know if it's rollback, but it definitely works. It definitely feels a lot better than what it was. And the reason that I was saying like it was delay for sure was because you could feel that. You knew. Like if you joined a fucking 2-bar game, your move was coming out 20 seconds after you pressed it. You were not hitting Muscle Buster unless you just buffered it and then walked away and you didn't care. You know? But
buffer it and walk away. Run up. Do a move with no pushback and then immediately muscle
and just start backdash.
Yeah, but now it's like it feels as best as it can be, probably. I mean, like Dom said, there are still some
like
instances.
to think that this is as good as they're going to get it for this game.
Yeah,
and it is a 3D game, right? So there's
that's crazy.
That element to think about.
That's the thing is too. It's like I'm almost positive this is the first 3D game to have what has been marketed as rollback.
Probably,
and
that
I don't know if it really is rollback due to that, due to those conditions, the fact that it is 3D. And Harada has even been saying, you guys say rollback, but you don't even really know what you're saying. You say that, he's like Inigo Montoya. You say that word, I don't think you know what it means.
Yo, dude, I'm telling you right now that Harada's gaslighting us.
He is gaslighting the fuck out of us, but what if he knows something what if he's just not saying it? Okay, so Harada has been confused. He's been, misleading a lot, but I'm pretty sure that the way that he is directing the game is to its benefit, but it's just not clear what kind of netcode this is. I don't think it's rollback, but it very clearly isn't delay.
I'm going to say that I think we can simplify it down to Tekken 7's its own self-implementation of rollback.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it is. It's whatever it might be. It might need to have a new name because of the nature of Tekken 7, right? It's a 3D game. It may not be what people traditionally think of with rollback. So whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, and it does have an issue that rollback doesn't have. So it's not like the good ass rollback. And when I say it's as good as it can be, there is still the fact that when you set delay on rollback games and you know it's going to be delayed, you set it to a higher number, it stays at that number no matter what.
Yep.
But there is fluctuating delay in Tekken 7, and that makes a big difference, especially when your brain is mentally adjusted to multiple frames of delay.
It's true.
Instead of just because if I'm playing Seth and he does something and I know it's jab punishable, I'll tap jab, I'll just tap it. But if I'm playing against Seth and he's playing on Wi-Fi or some shit, I'm mashing jab repeatedly. I don't care because I don't know if it's gonna happen. Speaking of which, that Wi-Fi denial button, godlike.
Feels good.
Godlike.
Yeah.
I have denied.
The evil has.
You know what's crazy? You know what's crazy is that I'm playing on PC. Up until now, I had never played Tekken 7 on PC. It was on Steam. It was like $10. I picked it up. I was like, all right, we're in there. Money in the bank, baby. Let's do it. I've run into so many Wi-Fi players. It's insane.
Dude.
Who's playing this game on Wi-Fi? Dude, my computer's like $2,000. I'm going to plug an Ethernet cord into it.
It's those Chromebook users, bro. They just...
Chromebook.
They're playing at, I don't know.
They're playing the Android version of Tekken 7.
The Genshin Impact version of Tekken.
They got the gaming laptop,
Genshin
bro.
Impact. I forgot about that game
already.
I did play some of that. Anyhow, I've seen some of the best scrub quotes have been from the Wi-Fi.
The
people who hate
the Wi-Fi crusade.
deny button.
Yeah,
and it's
Dude,
just
the Ethernet deniers. They're just like, no, we don't need it. Our Wi-Fi is crisp, bro. It's crisp. And then I found a 5-bar Wi-Fi player, and I voluntarily played them for my own curiosity. And I did forward 1. King's, big old punch, the homing mid.
Yeah.
That shit it's cash money.
What do you mean?
And,
Free healthcare.
If you do a 4-4-1, you would generally just do it again.
Just do it again.
Let's do it again.
See if they're moving, right?
Yeah.
And I did forward, and the one never happened. So I just dashed at him.
Just got counter hit.
Got hit, and I was like, "What the?" And it was a 5-bar Wi-Fi connection. It doesn't work, bro.
It doesn't work.
That Master Raven, that expert rank Master Raven, I'll kill you.
But he pays for good internet, bro.
He won't.
He pays
really
for
won't.
that good
We have
internet.
to
It's crisp.
Disclaimer that he will not. But the best part is when the people who are like, "Yo, this is actively stopping us from playing the game." The best part is you always wait when people feel like they're being denied something, and then it got compared to civil rights, and I'm like, there it is.
Yo,
There it is.
There it is right there.
it's every time the
There it
dude
is right there.
Fortnite comparing the war against Apple to the civil rights movement. I'm like,
Oh yeah, the Epic CEO.
Yeah, of
That
course.
shit
like
was so
so.
silly.
Of course.
It took, you know how like there was like an in joke between myself, NT, and Dan and Seth that eventually there'd be an episode of EX Saturdays where I would say the N word. I was this close.
No. Oh,
Like, just right
So I was like, let me find the kill stream. It actually kills the stream, logs Seth out of his Discord account, shuts the computer down, and signs off his final lease payment so he can move. It's just one big
I'm
button.
banned
Dom
from
says
Twitch.
the N-word button. He just slaps it and he's like, all right, guys, I'm out.
I'm banned from YouTube. Yeah.
But yeah, it is, what to say? You know what? Yeah. Stop being
Not
a
the
bitch.
N-word, I'll tell you that. But
That's what
stop
I'm
being
gonna
a-
say.
yeah.
Stop being a bitch.
being
You
a
know,
bitch.
like, yes, there are some people who are in the unfortunate situation where they cannot plug in to the Ethernet due to where they live, whatever. However, that percentage is really low. That
And
percentage is very low.
moreover, something that I will say is that there are people out there that are decent human beings, okay? Shout outs to the man's Jinsoku, who hasn't signed up for a single BB tag tournament. Not because he's on Wi-Fi, but because his internet is not good enough, and he does not want to ruin the experience for other players.
True. Pat, please don't do this.
Wi-Fi players should be a protected class. Wi-Fi's ping. Rockin' 5 ping. Third strikes until 5.
Damn, I know that person too. I grew up with that. Don't do this. Don't come in here and do this. Not while I'm working.
Oh man, that's crazy. They're doing it's happening in real
Anyhow,
time.
I overall the Tekken 7 change has been, I feel like, for the better overall, right?
Excuse
Go
me.
ahead.
Sorry to
Fire
interrupt.
away.
Damage scaling at the wall.
Damage
Oh,
scaling.
scaling?
Yes.
In general.
Yes.
Health values. Three very big changes I thought would make a massive difference. It don't make a difference.
It makes a difference. It makes a difference. It makes a
It's
difference
not,
because
it's not significant enough to me.
It makes a marginal difference because I when I was watching YouTube play, there'd still be 2 or 3 exchanges and someone was dead, like
Yeah,
on big hits.
I'll say this. Paul Phoenix can still hit you for 95% of your health. They reduced his damage on his moveset, so like they did. You know how like he's just ridiculous. His the ender he uses at the wall, I believe they reduced the damage by 5, but they also increased the health points by a value, and they also increased wall scaling, and he can still 95% health value you down. Like, don't get me wrong, it's a better improvement, but it wasn't what I wanted. I would have liked to have seen it to, like, let me just say this. I would have wanted Tekken 7 to be at a point where we're at 4 interactions for big exchanges, for it to be that. Because I'm watching, like, you know, we're up to 3. Now we're up to 3. I watched, like, a peeling clip of him doing, like, a 3-piece sequence. And in that 3-piece sequence, he killed somebody with Kuni. And that's a new character. And they balanced around that new balance. So.
It is what it is. I think that, who knows? There were some people saying that they were going to do another Passover and just of characters and stuff like that after this part settled with the netcode and all that, but we'll see. overall, I think people are mostly happy with it. They're happier with it than they had been, for sure. Because I see a lot of the Midwest Tekken players now streaming Tekken again, and being like, "Yo, I'm back in there."
Yo, Chicago Tekken, shout outs.
Yeah.
The Discord's got faces saying they're in voice chats now.
Yeah. So
people are
they're playing
talking in there kind of regularly because they can play the game. Imagine that.
Chicago Tekken people stopped playing Animal Crossing, and now they're back at being Chicago Tekken.
No, Mike W's still playing World of Warcraft, bro.
What?
We lost him.
We lost him.
Pour one out for Mike 2U's, the homie.
Man,
that's rough. And speaking of rough, MK11 Ultimate it has dropped, and I mean I know neither of us have really been playing this.
I've been grinding the fuck
that.
out of it. No, just playing.
But it has dropped. I've watched a couple of the PlayStation 4 tournaments that they have, where they have Ketchup and Mustard commentate for it.
Yeah.
So looks fun. I think one of the biggest changes outside of Rain being added, which is super dope because Rain is cool. Rambo, I haven't seen any Rambo in tournament yet. I'm sure someone's used them though.
Melina's cool.
Melina, of course. The Melina stands finally win.
Look,
they get their character in there.
I can't believe he's done this.
Look, man. I can't like Melina without being called a Melina stan. I'm not even Melina stan. My sister's name is Melina. I gotta like that character, and she's cool.
You have to.
I always like the monster-y character, the beast characters. They're sick. The feral ones.
There's a song with my name in it. It's called Dominic the Donkey. It's got my name in it. I hate that song. I don't care how Italian that donkey is and what season it is.
All right. Well,
the Italian Christmas.
So anyway, from that.
So I don't know. I haven't
right
heard.
Back into Mortal Kombat. Seth, Melina.
I haven't heard a lot of negative impressions on MK11. Most of what I've seen are either Melina combo videos, Rain combo videos, or
I mean, the Rain combo videos are gonna. That's all Rain does is combos.
It's combo, right? Melina's got some pretty
kick.
sick-looking fucking combos too. Like
super kick combos, yeah, they're cool.
It's gotten to the point where I'm thinking about just grabbing Ultimate to mess around with both because they both look really, really fucking cool. I haven't seen Tournament, and honestly, I don't know if they made any major gameplay changes to it.
Yes, they have.
So
now
I don't know.
So now customs are tournament legal.
That
With
is
the
most customs,
exception
like
of
90.
specific
Yeah, there's like 90% legality to customs, which, I mean, that changes everything, right? That's a whole new game, really, and I think that's ultra dope because one of the big complaints about Injustice 2 was that you have all these cool custom moves, but you can't use any of them. Same thing with MK11 when it first dropped, all the way up until Ultimate. The fact that now you can bring customs and they're tournament legal, that's like you're getting whole new characters, right?
Yes.
Like you're getting whole new characters.
Yeah,
and that
I'm
to me is
playing a
really
zoner.
dope.
Are they?
I'm playing a zoner. I want a command grab though. Now you
Yeah.
can have both.
Yeah.
Oh, I like playing this character, but their zoning is really weak. Well, now you can give them better zoning options. And on top of that, obviously, I got to see what's going on with Garrus because he had some ridiculous custom moves.
I never looked at the combos the moves that weren't in the variations, like tournament legal variations, because I was like, I'll never use these and I'll never see them.
Yeah, I haven't
so
either.
So now
but
it's like I should probably go through, see what Jackie's got, see what Melina's got outside of that. Well, Melina's a whole new character, so I gotta look at that in the first place. But it feels like a whole new game.
Jackie is wild because you can combine her dot damage one with upgraded, the cancel in the air stuff. It is
so
ridiculous.
Jackie's probably gonna be maybe hovering around the high mid to low high
mid,
like Garrus, Garrus and
come on man,
that Rambo. So anyway, I'll probably pick up MK11 just because obviously it's got rollback. I was never really like an MK diehard before. But considering how the game is like really, really new, it's gonna feel really, really new. Considering how you can like make your own move list.
It's a brand new game to me. The fact that you can make check
it out.
even the customs that, let's say, forget about the customs that you didn't use. You can just combine old variations, right? Like with Jackie, like with RoboCop. You can do all kinds of stuff. So I don't know how long the setups take, like between rounds or whatever. Like if you lose, you come into the next match. So I don't know if they're like pre-built that you have to bring them in, or like
you select
if you have to
like
have them set. Yeah. One of the benefits is, ironically, because we're not at locals, we don't have to have the situation of someone saying, hold up, let me go back and rechange my setup, because everybody's on their own system the moment.
It's like Smash, where everybody has to like redo their binds in like the hidden menus and shit.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
So I don't know how that's going to work in person, but
I'll spend some time.
Online, you can just have some set.
Yeah, you can just have them set and then join. And I wonder if that's why they did it, or because like it's so easy to do online, and they obviously want to spruce up the game a lot more. But I wonder if they're also doing it this crazy. What's insane is like they added this option, and I don't know, I haven't looked at the patch notes. I didn't even know that this gameplay thing was this major, but I wonder if they balanced around that. I wonder if they adjusted some moves.
They did for sure. They did. They said they did. So that's really cool.
Yeah, I definitely didn't watch the Combat Cast. I should have, but dude, shout out to the Combat Cast. I think it's sick, by the way.
Yo, Combat Cast
is so helpful.
Hands down, best. Like, this is the character. This is the new update ever.
This is everything they do.
Even back when it was Watchtower, it was sick. Like,
do you remember League of Legends Champion Spotlights?
Yeah, of course.
That's what it feels. It feels like that, but better.
They still have Champion Spotlights.
Yeah, but I don't watch them anymore, Seth.
And I mean, look,
it's because Freak
it's way better than Champion Spotlights, because you actually have
2 hours.
Almost. Tyler on there, you have Stephanie on there, you have Derek on there, and they all bring their unique perspective to the game. And you get to see them talking about ideas of the character, what the character does. You get to see Stephanie's sick menuing skills. Have you seen her go through menus?
Yeah,
dude, it is sick. It is like, I'm watching just for that. Like, yo, let's get some GDQ on MK11.
You don't even see the menu. It's sick, dude. Did the screen cut out for a second? What was that? No. Whenever Stephanie menus, it's just like, it's so lightning fast. It is sick, but no, you're right. Combat Cast is the amount of depth that they go into to what the character can do, what the character is, and then like ways to apply certain things. Like they go so in depth on it. It's definitely better than the Champion Spotlights, and like you said, Dan, definitely more expansive than anything any developer does currently for a character showcase. I hope they won't, but I hope that certain developers take note of that and understand that we care more about how the character functions in game than what their birthday is. So,
well, I care about both of those things. I share a birthday month with Grow, and I hate him.
Sarabella and I have the same birthday.
MK11, I don't think I'm gonna pick it up, just being honest, but I'd be interested in seeing you stream it, Seth, and see you're going through it.
Yeah, I'd love to.
Oh, another really big change before we slide into another topic is the wake up timings have now been the late wake up timings have been generalized. So you used to be able to vary, right? But now it's just one set time of delayed wake up, which is nice. Also, down pokes beat out throws now, which is really good. Because before you could be thrown, it was kind of like Street Fighter 5 where you can be vacuumed into the throw.
Yes.
Now down pokes beat out throws naturally, which is really nice because it was rough. It was definitely rough having that happen. So generally people are really happy with what's going on with Ultimate. I'm gonna peek in because it's, for me, MK is like Plus R or Guilty Gear is for you, Dom. Like I'll watch an MK tournaments because at high levels they're really sick and they have cool characters and things like that. I'm just not into playing it, but I do enjoy watching those tournaments. So
I think it's gonna be cool. I mean, I own the game, right? So like, well, I don't own Ultimate, but I don't need to upgrade it because I'll just play as Baraka, dude. That's what I want.
Let's go play as Melina. Not a stan.
That's fair.
Just think she's cool.
if I were to pick it back up, you already know Alex Murphy, all day, every day. High shot, low shot. Had some great moments. Had some great. Oh, I love Rain, but I'm not. If I had a secondary, it would be Rain. But high shot, low shot, bro. Like, come on. We had some great moments in Discord with me high shot, low shotting my way through low rank combat league, which was amazing.
That was ridiculous. They
won't delayed high shot.
Delayed high shot.
High shot, low shot, high shot, low shot, high shot again. Got him. You go full screen all the way back, start over again. It was great.
On to the next one.
But speaking of great, CPT's winding down, and it's been pretty good given the blow-ups, obviously, of the netcode and things like that. But the drama has been there, right? With the stories of CPT always be hidden, right? Yeah. Like, a lot of people watch CPT just for the personalities.
Punk calling Alex Myers a bitch,
apologizing and then doing it again.
Yeah, doubling down, getting like that's today, right? We got
yeah. Oh, I'm definitely gonna have it on. I'm definitely gonna have it on.
I'm not doing.
And Punk is in losers bracket, right? So like
by default, it's gonna be
great. But CPT is winding down. Street Fighter League has been amazing. I shout outs to the production of Street Fighter League. For real.
Japanese and American Street Fighter League.
Both have been really good.
Both are really fun to watch.
Arguably better in Japan.
Yeah,
only because they are really they are showmen.
Yes.
They are.
The Japanese players.
Names. They have like
that is so cool to me.
Dances and shit. Yeah. It's great. I love
that. Is so cool.
Japanese players are they're so funny too. I don't know. A lot of them are really entertaining to watch. Because they know it's for show.
I think that. Oh, go ahead, Seth.
They know it's for show, but on the production side of things, big shout outs to Rob TV, man.
I was just gonna say that. Yeah, Rob TV. Really changing the game when it comes to Street Fighter League. The interviews have been on point. The questions have been on point. Yeah. His passion for the game shines through. His passion for the players shines through.
Yes.
Great host. Amazing asset to pick up next to Steven Vicious, right? Because you really have someone who not only knows the game really well, not only competes at a high level at the game, but also is just a really passionate personality. And he's a good dude. Like originally Midwest, now he's in Florida. But
we'll talk about
every time, whether or not you know him, like you can come up and be like, "Yo, Rob, what's up?" And he's just like, "Yo, what's up, man?" You know, blah blah blah. He'll rap to you about the game, and I'm happy for him.
And I at the time hated Street Fighter 5.
Yeah,
I had like a 2-hour-long conversation, or like no shit, outside of Combo Breaker, drink in hand. I'm clearly drunk, and he's just listening to me talking about Street Fighter. It was great.
Yeah. So I hope they, when Street Fighter League rolls back around, they pick him back up for another season as host, because it really has changed the game, and I'm excited for him. Obviously, Steven Vicious, consummate professionals, super entertaining. Top tier. What are you gonna say, right? Like they've been incredible as well, and the players, the competition has been wild.
Yes.
Seth, you've probably watched a lot more than we have. So, what are your thoughts on?
I've watched it all.
Okay. Well, excuse me. I'm sorry. Excuse me. Honda's still top tier. Seth, what do you think?
I think
I'm gonna go get coffee.
I think in terms of competition during the podcast.
Wow, he's about to go right now. All right, he's out.
I think competition for SFL has been pretty. Not sporadic. It honestly, it sounds conceited for me to kind of say like, oh, it's gone how I expected, considering like the team composition. I have seen a lot of different upsets, which are really entertaining to watch. I think most of what SFL's appeal to me has been Rob's interviews, has been Japan's. Admittedly, I watch more of Japan than I watch of US.
Okay.
And that's more or less just because like the players that I watch over there and the production over there is and sometimes the times that it comes on, like the days that it comes on is more it's easier for me to watch. But it honestly has been. I remember when SFL was coming out and nobody just, that shit was a joke. Everybody was like, this is gonna be whack, and I think it has come such a long way to now I cannot see Street Fighter like esports without it. And honestly, like I have to have SFL. SFL is now going to be a staple to the Street Fighter culture, and I think it's great. I think it's fantastic. I hope it sticks around.
I think it adds, right, to CPT.
Yes.
It gives us matches that we would want to see in CPT that we maybe, because of the way brackets pan out or whatever, we can't. But it gives us matches that have stakes to them. And that's one of the best things about CPT is the stakes, right? Like, it's actual money. IDOM won a ridiculous amount of money last year, right?
Yeah.
Like, even with taxes, he still won a huge amount of money. So, was it $250,000 or something like that? Like, ridiculous. So, yeah, I think you're right, Seth. I think SFL boosts CPT, and you kind of have to have it now, right? Like, it's one of those things that it's the Thursday night football to Sunday of CPT.
There you
right?
go.
And it's so good.
That's definitely true.
I'm gonna say that, like, so first off, I'm gonna say this: when Street Fighter League came out, I watched it, and I was like, "This is the wackest shit I've ever seen."
Yeah.
It was so whack, and that improvement is like, it's first off, the production is way higher now.
Yes,
absolutely. Way higher. You can tell they're making efforts to not let people get destroyed by COVID-19.
Yeah.
Which is really good. And there's one thing that, like, man, it slipped my mind. There's one thing that I have that's like a complaint, I guess, now that I don't necessarily want, because of the way that it's spread out now, like, where they have, like, hey, this is this team, blah, blah, blah. You have Nasser, Angry Bird, Big Bird, Samurai, right? Obviously, they're not from America. You have, like, talent from all over the world, which I thought was really cool. Which is why it bothers me that the talent on SFL is very much uneven.
Well, okay,
like,
so the logistically, go ahead, Dan.
Go ahead, Seth, because you're the Street Fighter 5 aficionado.
Yes, I can see your point, and some teams do seem unbalanced, but it's good that they have talent coming in from all around the world, because that is a way for each region to level up together consistently in an offline. Like, for those players specifically, like, they want experience playing in regions outside of majors, and I think SFL is a great way for them to do that, because then you're actively sharing ideas, you're sharing strategies, even though you are playing in a team setting, so, like, the stakes are different than it is like when you're just, like, trying to blast through a bracket at a major. You're still it's still very healthy for us as spectators and as a Street Fighter audience, because we understanding on a much more direct in a direct situation of how these players play and how they're able to adapt to other players from other regions. Like, I mean, like, regionally. So yes, having, like, Oil King come to Team UIU, that team is kind of underperforming, but it's still very important the way that team is structured. You know,
they're 0-5, bro.
I think that they are. But I think that, you know, because Street Fighter League started before the pandemic, and obviously the pandemic hit them with the massive, you know, curveball like it did everybody. They didn't get all of the players they wanted, right? But what came out of it is still incredibly highly entertaining product, high value product. I think that this year, out of all of the years, brings more parity from the US Street Fighter League to the Japan one, right? Because, and obviously the Japan player, I mean, look, we're not going to kid around, right? Like, the Japan SFL teams are buff, like all of them.
Yeah,
so,
I mean, I think that's what's interesting about Street Fighter League right now, right? Is that you do have these players that are not as good in America, and, like, the American version of Street Fighter League, there are some random just specks of just, like, you could have just not invited this guy. You'd have been probably better off and had better competition. But then in Japan, they don't give a shit. Like, everybody's good. But what I think is interesting about Street Fighter specifically as a game is that the best Street Fighter 5 players live here. Currently. Like, you're not just going to beat Punk in a bracket. It's not happening. You're not going to beat IDOM in a bracket. It's not happening. But then, like, the density of ridiculous players in Japan is so much higher. It's like, how can these two things exist in the same place? in the
Well,
same way.
that's a conversation that's been had for a long time, right? Like just in general, like how does Japan generate just the pure strength per capita of player compared to the US? A lot of it has boiled down to, and this is what excites me about some of the newer games coming out with Rollback, like Strive. A lot of it boils down to being able to play consistently in environments that allow you to learn, right? And so Japan, obviously not as large as the US, you could take a bullet train for 2 hours to go from, one side to the other and play, no matter where you were. It still takes effort, but you can do it, right? Like you can arrange that time. You can be like, yo, Daigo, you're 2 hours away. I'm going to jump in, And yeah, there are costs and things like that associated with it, but it's feasible. It's more feasible than, saying, yo, I'm in New York. Let me go and, play Alex Valle in LA, like, let me just go and do that. Like, okay, sure. Good luck. How consistently can you do that,
America.
right?
We don't have convenient ways to move around. But yeah, you're right. It's the accessibility. It's the way that they train. Which, not only is in person and the effort to do so is less than it is here, but it's also the way that they practice. It's how diligently they prioritize. Not to say like American players or US players don't prioritize it as heavily, but it's like the environment in which they do, it's like because everybody is at a level where they're like, it's like everybody in Japan is like top 500 and everybody in America on average is like high diamond level. So you're like your criteria of learning, like some US players went over to Japan to try to improve.
Of course.
And that's how you're going to do it because like Dom said, their like skill per like the density of highly
skill
skilled
per
players.
capita, dude.
Yeah, the skill per capita is just so dense. So
but it's also like, SF5 obviously doesn't have the arcade scene, but up until SF5, the arcade scene was still pumping out in Japan, right? Like it was still going through Street Fighter 4 era. And that culture breeds, the strength that, because you're seeing the same people over and over again, you're seeing different types of people over and over again. And it's not just limited to running sets at tournaments.
Chokito's getting command grabbed again.
It's happening.
I love it.
I think that with Rollback, hopefully, we'll start to see some of that even out because it'll have an online environment that is closer to, or you're able to grind up and learn. And that's not to detract from, because you've seen online warriors come out of the woodwork, right?
Yeah.
Like even in Street Fighter 4, look at Smug.
Yeah.
Smug was an online warrior. Idom was an online warrior. At one point. So like it's possible, but like you said, Seth, it's how do we get to the place where you are,
your
it's
surroundings
common,
are
right,
leveling you up just as equal, because it's the same thing in Pakistan with Tekken. It's the way that they train. It's how many people are training together and how they do it,
Yo, Pakistan was like the hidden village, dude. Like they just came out of the woodwork. You were like, I didn't even know this place existed, that they were playing like this.
They're all that good, and then they're all at the same time thought, yo, we should go to a tournament.
It's the anime arc where the dude that destroys everyone who came from nowhere is like, oh yeah, everybody back where I'm from is way better than I.
He said that too.
I get blown back all the time.
That was their words.
Everybody's good.
That's what he said. That's what Arslan said. He's just like, everybody's this good in Pakistan.
Everybody's
I'll
good.
show you.
Like, this is
come to Pakistan. I'll fly him out. It's And Japan is that way for Street Fighter 5, and
for sure.
I think that for us to get there as not as Americans, but as a region, right? Or any region that feels like a weaker region for you to get there. I don't know. Maybe it's also like the circumstances for other regions. I don't know what made Pakistan the Tekken overlords as they are. Like, I don't know what circumstances led them up to be that good at Tekken specifically. But for us with Street Fighter, it's like, we all gotta level up, man. And I don't really know. I'm sure there are better inputs. Like I could ask St. Colo. You know, what would be cool? Have St. Colo on the show.
That would be dope. Close that out for the year. That'd be sick. But speaking of closing out, last month of the year is coming up, right? I know, you know, there's some things like the Game Awards and stuff like that, but specifically for fighting games, what would both of you like to see?
Gameplay update next month, baby.
Okay, fair enough.
It's coming. The gameplay mechanic that we don't know anything about. Once Capcom Cup is over next month, we'll probably get some news on it. But they did say they plan on shipping winter 2020. So it could be right after. It could be like we get an announcement afterwards and we get Dan. But more importantly, we get the jury costumes. I just want to get that out of the way for Dom. But we get new stages. We get those
Not
costumes.
even going to play her.
And then nobody's going to play her. But then we also get
Wow.
then we get that gameplay update. That hopefully game breaking, hopefully game changing, hopefully like on MK11 ultimate levels of change.
Shakes the shit.
You
with one of
really
these.
think it's going to be MK11
I want it
level
to
of
be
change?
drastic. I want a whole new, either a defensive option or a healthier way to deal damage. Because damage in Street Fighter V is like bad. It's disgusting. It's disgusting. I want ways for like more defense-oriented characters to dish out like more reliable.
I want them to speed up all fireballs. That's what I want.
Who knows? Who knows?
That's what I would really like, because
triggers one Ryu.
just in general. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. Dom, what about you? Last month of the year, what do you want to see for fighting games?
Man, you know, I hadn't thought about it as you asked, but obviously, you know, good rollback for all. But
Yes, of course.
that's a given. I don't even feel like I should have to mention that, but we will. Kind of like, you know, general injustices. You speak them regardless of whether or not we know they exist,
Yeah.
as a reminder that we haven't forgotten. But I guess I'd like to know who the new character for Soul Calibur 6 is going to be.
That's fair. That's
Because
fair. I forgot that there was even one left.
Exactly.
Forgot.
I'm telling you right now, the game's going to be dead in the water if they don't do shit soon. Especially with all these games getting better netcode.
Yep.
Like Soul Calibur is in a precarious location right now. It's about 3 months away from being Soul Calibur 5 and 4, where it's the same dudes playing it.
It's just
So it's in the ICU right now, is what you're saying.
Yeah, the best that they can hope is that the defibrillators hit them in the chest just the right way, where it brings their heart back. But
Cool.
that defibrillator is Yunsung, or Huang, depending on how you feel. Either the Cooper Sedan, I'm only dealing with you, nothing to do with your man. It's got to be one or the other.
I think they'll single-handedly save Soul Calibur 6.
No, but it'll definitely keep it on the what do you call it? Keep it out of the hospice and in the hospital.
Fair enough. That's a really good analogy, actually. I like that. I think for me, what I want to see is more plans and announcements of how we're going to deal with year 2 of COVID, right? From publishers and from developers about circuits. Like I would, and this probably isn't going to happen, but I would like by the end of December, publishers to come out and say, "Yo, COVID year 2 is happening.
We're gonna do something."
These are our plans." Yeah, even if it's super high level, but say, "Yo, we're doing something. Here are our plans or our thoughts about what's going to happen." I would love that. To me, would just across the board, Street Fighter.
See,
Tekken,
I think
that.
the something that we can all say and agree on is that Street Fighter is doing as well as it does because it has an organized circuit that people want to watch. Like, it's the same thing. It's the Capcom Pro Tour. You know, I don't feel like we have anything else to watch. And like Tekken is doing so, like, I think just mismarketed and misbranded. Like, just like they just named it something stupid, and now I don't feel like it's important. If they would have called it a circuit of some kind, or you know, something similar, I would have watched it. But like, I just don't feel like it, because they're like, oh, we're calling it the online challenger event. And it's like, just call it a circuit. Like, and if it's not,
because I didn't even know it was like, I didn't even know it was circuit-esque. You know, I just thought it was like random matches.
Yeah, and it's not. That's the problem. Like, and they did the same thing with Soul Calibur, and then they did half of that for Soul Calibur because they don't give a fuck about Soul Calibur at all. It's so obvious. One of the best, dude. I don't want to get into that.
Tekken no Nissan can't help it now. You know,
you genuinely do need. People need to actually do something that feels like a circuit for each game, so people are invested in something. Something they can follow consistently. Having one big event is cool, but having something people can follow is better.
Yeah.
If every game was the Super Bowl in football, it wouldn't be special.
Wouldn't matter. I agree. I would just like to see those plans, especially from game devs that didn't do a circuit, like Dragon Ball. I like to see they didn't do a circuit. They didn't. It's an invitational championship only. Right.
True.
The benefit for Dragon Ball, right, is that it's Dragon Ball. Like that IP, people are gonna play it and buy it just because it's Dragon Ball. So, you know, I guess they're a little bit of a leeway, but the fact that there were no circuits, specifically, nothing in the Midwest, nothing, dry, and we have some great Dragon Ball players here, and we didn't get shit. Like, we didn't get anything, and I'm not going to jump on that horse all the way, but it's a little upsetting for me. The fact that Midwest often gets overlooked. Shout outs to Arxis for actually saying, yo, we're going to be, you know, making sure we hold something for the Midwest region, right? Yeah. Because normally that doesn't happen. It's like, oh, you can do East Coast, you can do West Coast. Like, okay, well, we're here.
I don't want to play on the fucking East Coast. Fuck the East Coast, okay? I live in the middle of the country.
Yeah.
It's the center of the country. I don't live in the East Coast. Fuck you.
It's called the heart.
Stop.
The heart.
The heart, right here. The cord is everywhere. I don't give a fuck about your stupid buildings or your goddamn shitty pizza.
Hey, well,
I want to fucking play fighting games with my goddamn people, and I want to be recognized for it. Motherfuckers.
We got cool buildings too, but anyway.
I mean, look, the point is, most developers don't do things in the Midwest, and that's to me like one of the biggest missteps. So in addition to wanting to see the plans from developers of these games come out in December so people can prepare for them, I would like to see more Midwest representation announced. That would be nice. Absolutely. And acknowledgement. That would be nice. So that's mine. You know, my thoughts on the last month for fighting games. But speaking of niceties and not so niceties, we're going to close it out with comments on recent developments from One Nintendo regarding the cancellation of the Big House.
And despite of the development of another,
they actually just renovated an entire home by removing the Big House completely. Due to, because this episode of the podcast has been a lot about Rollback, due to a rollback modification made by fans for Super Smash Bros. Melee. Normally we don't talk that much about Smash here, but I think the importance is we see it's a very stark difference from what we've seen from developers this year from fighting games, right? Arxis was like, yo, you're working on Rollback, let me get in on that. You know, like that they jumped in with Team French Calibers to give them the thumbs up to do that.
Dengeki Bunko.
Yeah, Dengeki Bunko is getting...
I vaguely remember somebody saying that they're not too happy about it because it is operating on stolen copies, but the fighting game community doesn't care.
The developer was saying he's saddened that it's operating on an illegal copy of it.
Well, eat shit because he didn't release it to the US. So.
Well, here's the thing though. More developers in the fighting game community space are embracing these fan pushes for Rollback. Whether it be them working on it development-wise and teaming up with them, but none of them have, to our knowledge, jumped in and said, yo, you can't run this tournament because of how you're modifying or supplying the game.
This is the only company, I think, in history that has done this more than once, too.
Yeah, this has happened more than once, but specifically Slippy was named for the reason that the whole Smash, Melee, and Ultimate tournament was shut down in Big House.
Ultimate got shot, too!
Ultimate just got lit up because it was in the car.
Yo, that's the area clear? Are you sure? Yeah.
And I guess to me the concerning thing is, number one, that's rough. Like, you know, we're in a pandemic, and you go ahead and make the decision to do that. Now, it's in their right to make whatever decision they want, but I guess my question is, do either of you think that this trend is going to extend over into the FGC now that Nintendo has kind of made it the ballsy move to just upset so many people? I mean, there are thousands and thousands of people with hashtag free Melee now, right? Because of what happened to Big House.
Yo, that whack ass tattoo. Shut up.
I don't know about getting a tattoo on your arm that says free Melee, but what do you guys think is going to be the take from fight? Like, are they going to take a beat from Nintendo, or do you think that they're going to look at that and be like, yeah, that might not be it?
I think so I think some developers might take some things away from it, but they're not going to be as drastic as Nintendo, because most fighting game developers understand that tournaments are because the reason that I say they'll take some things and not all of it is because we already saw Shueisha do it with Dragon Ball. They tried to, rather. They have shut down tournaments due to license holding and shit like that. So depending on the game, depending on the developer, it can happen. And I think that most developers would understand that the tournament scene and the esports scene are the bread and butter of a game's success. Right?
They are contingent.
They are dependent, borderline, on how a game grows and remains relevant. So I wouldn't think that game developers would just outright shut it down. I think that they would harden their policies on such. For example, I understand Nintendo's decision to do it. I don't think it's right, but I understand it.
Sure.
Especially considering the fact that obviously this is due to the world's circumstance of COVID right now, where they had to add rollback in Slippy. I think part of it is the way that they marketed it. They marketed it with like Nintendo IP stuff. Like they had the frog, you know, they had Slippy the frog. They really used their characters and likeness and things like that. And obviously I can see Nintendo having a problem because it can make it look like, oh, we're affiliated with that, or make people think they're affiliated with that. But Nintendo is also just like really like, they are so detached from the esports scene and caring about it at all. Even though ARMS has rollback, I don't think that the intention of putting rollback in ARMS was so that there could be a tournament scene. I think it was just a way to make that game relevant. And then once it became irrelevant, Nintendo was just like, well, then we don't fucking care, because they didn't host tournaments for it. They didn't want
they had like one or two. They're not like regular actual. Like, how do you even enter into that? How do you get selected? Right?
They did on the same grounds that they did with Splatoon 1 and 2, and with Smash Ultimate and 4. Right? They had like a tournament or two for the first month or two, and then done, and then nothing. Right? It's not continued support. But one thing that I also understand from Nintendo, and not trying to defend Nintendo's case, but this is a trend, is when they shut something down. Because if you guys remember that Mario Flash game that a fan was working on, and they were just like, yo, nix this shit right now, it's because they were porting the old Marios. They were doing a new Mario game, and they were porting old Marios.
So Melee?
That's why, like, I said something in the low kick chat. I was just like, Melee Switch port. It was half meme, but also half like we could probably see.
But it ain't gonna have rollback, so people ain't gonna want to play it regardless.
That's too. I don't know. Like when it comes to them running an emulator, and when it comes to them like basically operating on the superior products. Like I'm sure Nintendo would be like, fuck, this makes, you know, we don't like this because we got something coming up. It makes them look bad, but they don't care. They never cared.
I'll say this. It is not illegal to own a ISO of the game if you own the game.
Correct.
It is not. However, because that's one of the things Nintendo licenses, that like, and yes, some people who are running Slippy do not currently own Melee. I'll give you that.
They never will.
It's probably, yeah, they never would. It's probably, you know, more than 50% of people don't own the game that are playing Slippy. But the second thing is, to me, the greater point for Nintendo is that it's clearly a modification of the game and its code. And that in and of itself I mean, Nintendo can claim that as a right to cease and desist, regardless of the ownership of the game. So I get that. I understand, like you said, Seth, I understand it. Yeah. And the fact that Nintendo's going to sell Smash regardless. They're not reliant on the tournament scene at all, like in any way. It's Nintendo.
They don't want your support. They want your money, right? The Nintendo has been very, very clear about, well, not clear in its words directly, but it's been very clear in the actions that they don't care about fan outreach. They don't care about fans' demand. They don't care about what a fan speaks and wants, like what the fan base speaks and wants. They just do what they think is going to get them money and how they can best push content. Because remember when Pokemon Sword and Shield was coming out and everybody was really, really up in arms about certain things, like especially with the decks and especially like that. This was the first Pokemon.
The size, this is the decks.
This was the first Pokemon title on the Switch. And everybody was up in arms. What was Nintendo's response? Nothing. They didn't give a fuck.
No, they didn't care.
They don't
because
care.
People are going to buy it anyway. They're going to drop. They could drop a Pokemon game tonight. It could be the same game as Sword and Shield, have 10% different content, and everybody's going to buy it.
Not even 10% different content. It could literally just be a different color.
They do what they think makes them money, not necessarily what they think is right for the community. Now, there are moments where it's just like, all right, Nintendo, thank you for taking this step in the right direction because this like helps these communities, like them adding more inclusive hairstyles and style choices in Animal Crossing, where it's like you can be what you want. You know, it doesn't.
They just want black people's money.
Well, that's also true, right? Because like that expands their demographic, because there are people that won't support a product like Animal Crossing or anything like that, even though there were some, but it's more or less just like you'll largen your audience by doing these inclusive things, but they won't do it for the sake of inclusion. They'll do it for the sake of
I mean, that's I mean, at the end of the day, they're going to run it, you know, to make that currency. I guess my major concern is that because the fact that a lot of developers do have the power to just say, for whatever reason, it doesn't even have to be like one that we think is valid. They have the rights to just say, you cannot do this.
Yeah.
And that's just the end, right? Like Pat brought up a good point, is that there's not a legal, there's no necessary legal requirement other than the fact that when you accept the EULA to play the game, you accept all of the rules of them being able to step in whenever they want. A representative from Arxis could knock on my door tonight and be like, turn off Plus R stream right now.
Exactly.
And
they definitely can.
That's it.
Yeah, I mean,
that's it.
And you're really relying on.
You think about a company like, I don't know, Atlas. Do you remember Atlas when they were like,
they still do it?
They still
want to stream Persona 5? And it's like, yeah, and it's like, if you stream after this day, we're gonna shut down your stream. We're gonna hit you with strikes, and we're gonna remove that shit from your YouTube. Like, they're well within their right to do whatever the fuck they want. With that said, no one likes you.
They don't care. You will still buy their game. Yeah. They don't care. People will.
I mean, you know how it is for me. I won't, because I like if first off, I've said this numerous times. Fuck Nintendo. Like they make like 2 games that I like ever. They made Xenoblade Chronicles 2 for the Switch. I played it for 150 hours. My Switch is like $300, $400, and it's just sitting there. Actually, now it's just in a bag. I don't even know where the fuck it is. It's a useless piece of shit. I never used the damn thing. What was the other game I bought for that? It was Ultimate for tournaments. And I can give 2 fucks about that game because they can give 2 fucks about supporting it in a way that's reasonable. Example,
Do something about Ethernet, you motherfuckers.
I think
what is the matter with you?
There's an adapter, but I think that's
You
also
have to find an adapter, motherfucker.
It's hard to find that.
Yeah,
adapter.
again.
But regardless, I think that this actually opens up a very big can of worms topic where the developer versus consumer is so like one-sided to the point where a developer like Nintendo, like Atlas, like CDPR can take actions that they, deem as, what they want for their image and for their game and for their product, and people will be up in arms about it. People will be upset, but ultimately they're still going to make sales. Ultimately, they're still going to, people are still going to buy that shit. Like Atlas stuff, when it came to Catherine and when it came to Persona 5, where it's just like, they're the way that they use a certain community is the butt of a fucking joke is a huge problem. Huge problem. They still sold the fuck out of those games. They still sold crazy.
Yes.
And the thing is, people will want better for Persona 6, but when they inevitably don't do that, Persona 6 is gonna sell like fucking crazy too.
Well, here's the thing. And we can kind of wind down on this topic with this thought. It takes several cycles of a game series to really have that momentum from the audience or the consumers, I should say, actually matter. Right? Yeah. Like it does. If you think about it. Like it typically does. If it's going to happen at all, is what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. It takes several cycles of that input for most developers.
Yeah.
Because you're gonna be upset, right? And say, yo, what the hell is going on? And if you think about like Animal Crossing not allowing actual brown people, like it took one or two games before they were like, yeah. I guess we should. Yeah. Guess we should put brown people in the game,
right?
Because they exist on the planet. Mm-hmm. But
it's a giant continent.
Yeah, just full of them.
Yeah,
that's all. It's just all over the place.
I heard
Who would have thought? I didn't know.
They walk around with, just hang out. Sometimes they talk in ways that we don't understand.
But that's what I'm saying. It's like it takes several of those cycles, if it's going to happen at all. So. That's why it may feel like you're just yelling into the void, and sometimes you are, but if there's any chance of it happening, you gotta keep that conversation going, right? You don't have to support the franchise, if you like, F this franchise, I'm not doing it anymore, that's fine, but you can still keep talking about it and doing what you can to get those voices heard. So those are my thoughts. Pull one out for the people that run Big House. Like I said, I'm not a huge Smash tournament watcher and all of that, but as an event organizer, I can only imagine how that feels. That's gotta suck. So
getting your event shut down because of unforeseen circumstances is one thing. Getting your event shut down by the publisher of the fucking game you're running an event for is like, you guys hate us.
Yeah, it's a really bad feeling. So
they have that battle a lot, because they've been fighting that uphill battle for so long, basically like Smash tournaments versus Nintendo. It's so community reliant. So
it's tough,
but they don't care. Who knows? We'll see Melee on Switch.
Yeah, speaking of caring, what are your plans as we close out? What are the big plans for the next month until we EX again? We'll start off with Seth.
I'm really going to closely monitor SFL or rather just like CPT related stuff, just the pro scene of Capcom of Street Fighter V, just because I want to. It's very clear that Capcom wants to keep this game alive for another year or two, and that's not based off of the recent leak that we didn't talk about, nor will we, but or we can probably, but later on.
We're not going to talk about it.
Not now, no, but we're not going to talk about it. But it's very clear that we're going to have another few years of Street Fighter V. So I want to see how that evolves and eventually like fades out. You know, if there is like one giant like thank you for playing Street Fighter 5, here's like the one big gift to all the community members. I want to see how it evolves to that point. So my plan, and what you'll probably hear for the next time we come in on EX Saturdays is hopefully by the time that we do have EX Saturdays, we'll know what is being added to Street Fighter 5. But I just want to see how that game is going to evolve for its final go.
Cool.
But,
Dom?
Hey, probably for the remainder of this month and next month, I'll be pounding out playing Soul Calibur and Tekken and Street Fighter 5 again. That's pretty much it. I mean, I'm content playing like the same few games every once in a while. Like I feel like I've played more fighting games than I think I ever have, even with locals, because of how much time you have on my hands, obviously now. And it feels really good to be able to just like stretch my arms out a little bit. And it's like, oh, let's get into the 3D space. Let's get into the 2D space. I like having the ability to just test out stuff. So it's I'm just kind of moving around right now. I'm not gonna settle on anything, but I think that's the plan for the month, is to just play a little bit of everything. And it feels good that I can play with Seth because he's been playing everything I've been playing.
It's nice to play with your friends.
Yeah, me and Dan don't enjoy the same fighting games.
That's dope. We don't.
It's confirmed because he likes Plus R, and that's it right now.
Neither does Seth.
Yeah, neither does Seth. By the way, pour one out for Grand Blue, but
anyhow, we're going to move on to what I'm going to be doing. It's mostly going to be Plus R. I'm going to try to keep diving deeper into Guilty Gear, and try to join the community if they will have me. I'm going to try to assimilate into the community and then pretend like I've been there the whole time.
You're old. You get to do that. You just walk in, you got your glasses on and stuff, and you're like, yo, Bozak, you remember that mix-up from 2010?
It was 2009. 9, that's what I said.
And he's going to be like, I don't remember seeing you. It's like, I was there.
I was there. I was in the back.
I was in the back. You didn't see me. Yeah.
But yeah, I'm going to do, really getting Plus R going a lot more. I'm reluctant to stream fighting games, just because I don't enjoy streaming and playing fighting games at the same time, but it might happen. It might happen in the future, so we'll see. Personally, I mean, obviously organizing events and tournaments and commentating, yes, but me sitting down myself, don't know yet. It'd have to be curated content, right? It'd have to be planned. Like this is there's a run of show. This is what we're doing. It'd have to have some sort of purpose.
Yeah.
Because I just don't think, I don't think people want to just watch me sit down and get bodied while playing Justice. Like you can watch hundreds of other people do that. So
you can turn it around into something educational,
or you could just watch.
I'm still learning myself. Like what?
You can watch Blooming Lotus win with.
Yeah, I mean, so but yeah, Plus R will be my plans moving forward as far as fighting games. I'll update everyone next month when we have another EX Saturdays on how that went. But I'm generally excited for it. So that's about it. Any shout outs for you guys before we shuffle on off?
Shout outs. That's a good one. Who can I appreciate in the FGC right now? Man, there's been so much like drama and so much shit that's been like hurting our feelings that it's hard to recognize if there have been a lot of good stuff that's been happening. Damn, isn't that fucked up? Big shout outs to Arxis and Califish for bringing us Plus R's rollback beta indefinitely.
Yeah.
Hopefully that gears us up towards Strive. Big shout outs to Arxis for Strive moves. But really, man, when it comes to like individuals in the FGC, you guys are always doing great. This is not to say that there isn't good happening, that there isn't good to recognize you for. My brain is just bad. So big shout outs to all of you, as usual. I love all of you. I love this whole scene, and just because I can't shout you out specifically right now doesn't mean you're not doing it. So
Dom?
Well, I'd like to throw out 2 shout outs. One, shout outs to Dan for replacing my destroyed headset with this headset, which is very nice. That I got to test run after I picked it up literally 2 hours ago. This is the test run, so it's pretty nice. And also shout outs to me for being the best human.
Okay.
That is all.
All right.
For debate. Talk about that next time.
For myself, shout outs to Jackson and Dave, Low Kick Zone, for big holding it down during the pandemic while all of us have been running around trying to get our lives together or locked down with work from home type of situations. Jackson and Dave have been killing it in the background. So anytime Low Kick does something that's awesome, big ups to them. Also big ups to Seth for actually giving a fuck about what happens on our content and being able to do something about it. Because Jackson and Dave they care, but they don't have the time to. But Seth has been editing for us for a while. So big ups to Seth. And I'll give a shout outs to Dom, even though he kind of botched it. I'll still give a shout outs to him for random TOing, just at random. Also to FNTR for random TOing as well.
The Low Kick crew in general.
Yeah, like the whole Low Kick crew. We're gonna spread it out to everyone. And my other personal shout out is Tasty Steve for acknowledging my support and retweeting of him. It just feels good. It feels nice. I slide in the stream. He's like, "Yo, this guy's always, hooking it up." He'll never hear this, so it doesn't matter. But I appreciate that. It's nice to know. Steve is one of the reasons I got into commentary. I was like, "Yo, black people," and I was like, "I can do this." So
clip it and ship it. Clip it and ship it, Seth.
Big ups to Steve. That's it. So hopefully you guys enjoyed, our discussions and thoughts, and feel free to leave those comments on the YouTube video and on the tweet when we tweet out when the video is released. You can download the podcast too on Spotify. And I believe Apple Music as well. So look for that when the upload goes out. Don, you have something before? This is my closing out voice. Do you want to interrupt with something?
Yes.
Okay.
Subscribe to the YouTube channel.
Please subscribe
And
to the YouTube channel.
yeah, please subscribe to the YouTube channel. Me and Seth are trying to actively grow it out and expand content so that you guys have something else to watch other than tournaments. Let us know what you guys want. If you guys want to DM us, whatever you want. We have ideas. We're going to be working on that, but we're trying to expand the YouTube channel. So if you're not subscribed, please subscribe.
Yeah.
And if you feel the need to say something, also comment. It helps the algorithm, all that stuff. I mean, I'm going to show the YouTube channel every time.
Yes. All right, that's fair. But resuming my closeout voice, thank you everyone for tuning in. This has been EX Saturdays. I've been Dynamite.
I've been Ham Jams.
And I've been Seth.
Thank you. Stay safe, everyone. Wash your hands, wear a mask, social distance, and we'll see you next time. Peace and love.
Peace and love. Subscribe to the YouTube channel and join the Discord.